Hello there, this is my critical assignment. We're required to do a PowerPoint and a video based upon the career path we have chosen and what it takes in order to us achieve our career job. Now, the career path I've chosen, the career job, is that of becoming a strength and conditioning coach. So we're going to be going over some slides and I'm going to be defining what strength and conditioning is, what I need to do to achieve that goal of becoming a strength coach at a professional organization, which is what I would like to do. What are the things I need to do as in requirements, certifications, degrees that I should have that will make me a better candidate for this position. So as we go on to slide 2, I'm here defining strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning is basically to enhance performance of an athlete to help them prevent injuries. Now, when we talk about enhanced performance, we could be enhancing their strength, their speed, their agility, as different types of athletes require different type of training. As I mentioned here, you see here on the slide, it says resistance training, cardiovascular, endurance, and agility. Different type of athletes require different type of training, something I've learned through personal experience, myself being an athlete, and also through schooling. We cannot train a football player the same as an overhead athlete, for example, a pitcher or a quarterback, or per se even a tennis player or soccer player. All require training, and strength and conditioning can definitely help with all athletes prevent injuries and enhance their performance, but we need to know what type of training each type of athlete requires, and that's something that I am very passionate about. Strength and conditioning has come a long way in the past 20-30 years. It's being seen as much more important nowadays, which is why it's such a high trend. It's required by so many organizations and is being paid as a better position. Going on to the next slide, job description for strength and conditioning. The responsibilities include always supervising the athlete in the weight room, making sure that they don't hurt themselves, teaching athletes the proper technique, helping them transition from a rehab setting back to sport, communicating with your supervisors, the head strength coach, the athletic trainers or PTs, if a player gets injured, upper management, keeping records of their workout regimens and injuries, and of course, helping them stay healthy. That's the most important thing for professional teams and professional organizations. You want to keep that athlete healthy, which will save millions of dollars for the organization and obviously give your team that you're working for a better opportunity to make the playoffs or win a championship or whatever the goal is of that year of that organization. Salaries. Something I found out researching throughout the semester is salaries definitely have improved in the strength and conditioning field. I did not know, but from researching, NFL strength coaches seem to make more money than the strength coaches that are in the NBA and in Major League Baseball. Something that's not on there that I did find through also research was that actually the strength coaches that make the most money, actually the strength coaches working for college football, they're making way more than any other strength coaches right now. I believe the highest pay there's going to be is about $625,000 for the coach. I believe it's Iowa. So, but yeah, the NFL coaching jobs, as in pro sports in the U.S., is right now making the most. It can vary between $90,000 to $150,000 a head strength coach. Typically, the strength coaches' salaries though are pretty much on par from the NBA to the NFL, as in a regular intro strength coach as around $60,000 is the average. Major League Baseball is a little bit lower, but all the head strength coaches seem to be making close to about $100,000. So that's something that has improved over time. The next slide here, we're on the 5th slide. What am I going to do to establish my career? I definitely want to accomplish completing my degree, my bachelor's degree with CBU. Right now, I'm about a year and a half away from completing that. I would like to actually get my master's degree also. I feel that that would definitely help me get closer to my goal of becoming a strength coach for a pro team. I think they look at candidates who have master's degree better. It's not required, but it makes you definitely a stronger candidate. Being involved with different organizations as the NSCA, the ACSM. All these organizations are important. Getting those certifications as the CSCS, Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach, becoming a certified clinical exercise physiologist from ACSM, corrective exercise specialist as from NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine. All these will help, but definitely the CSCS is one thing that is required in order to become a strength coach. I saw that every strength coach has that certification. It's very important. Finding mentors, that's very important. Also, getting advice from mentors, trying to reach out to them, volunteering for internships. Pro teams are going to look at your body of work, so having good internships, and a lot of good things can come from that. You can meet people that might give you great recommendations. So all these are very important. And staying relevant in the field is always important. Continue to read literature and articles. So moving on here, what I didn't know. I always didn't know that the CSCS is very important. I wasn't sure though that if you had to have a degree in an exercise science related field or not. As I read through the requirements, you do not have to have a degree in an exercise science related field, which is something I would prefer that you would, because it means that someone could have a business degree and actually become a certified strength and conditioning coach, and I find that kind of awkward. Even though most strength coaches that work for pro teams all have a degree in an exercise science related field. Now you can also be 1 year within graduation and take the exam. So that's actually good news. I feel that that's great. Make you a stronger candidate. Maybe you can find a position that or an interview for a position that when you graduate you can already come out and have that job. So that's good. For the ACSM, you can take the exam in order to be the clinical exercise physiologist. To become a certified clinical exercise physiologist, you have to be in your last semester, either your last semester or have a bachelor's degree in an exercise science related field. So I think that's a great requirement. That's a certification I would love to get after graduation. The range in salaries, I wasn't sure about the salaries before I did all this research. So that definitely gave me a better view and perspective on the salaries and what you're going to make and planning on in the future. So yeah, and I definitely intend to graduate from CBU, as I mentioned earlier, but looking into other programs, graduate programs, I definitely, as of right now, decided that I would like to continue in CBU in my graduate degree. Instead of going to another institution, I feel it's more economical, the program will be more flexible, and that would definitely help me. How to stay relevant in the field. I mentioned earlier becoming a member of different organizations. That's very important. Definitely attending conventions. If you can attend a convention, there's always great information out there that you can learn and new stuff that's always happening and new research. So attending conferences is very great. Attend webinars and continuing your education and making sure your certifications stay relevant and up to date. How to be a better interviewee. This is something that was very helpful throughout the semester. I even had a mock interview with Laura Acosta. She gave me great feedback. So something I would do and that I've learned to become a better interviewee is to practice before having an interview. I think that's very important, having with either a family member or someone that can help you out. Doing your research on the organization you're applying for, whether it's a pro football team, pro basketball team. So maybe if you know that they've had a lot of injuries this past year, maybe you can tell them, hey, I know you're in the last 10% on injuries, or you guys are very high on injuries this year, so I could help bring those down. You guys have had a lot of shoulder injuries. I'm great with that. Or if they haven't had any injuries, maybe you can let them know that you are ready and willing to help them perform better, enhance performance, and what you can do on that aspect. So doing your homework on the organization is great. Make sure that you tell them what you're doing to work on your weaknesses. If you think communication is a weakness, that I mentioned to Laura Costa in my mock interview. Not as a weakness, but something I would like to work on and continue to work on. Something that she mentioned to me and gave me great advice is, how are you going to do that? So maybe telling your employer or the interviewer that you are taking courses or reading certain articles on communication, practicing that. That's how you're trying to improve. How are you improving for them to make you a better candidate? Explain why they should pick you. So set yourself apart from other candidates. It's very important. Bring a copy of your resume and dress definitely appropriately for the position that you're going to go to and dress professional. That's very important. Why I chose this field: I have a passion to help athletes. I myself have had 2 shoulder surgeries. I've been a collegiate athlete. I know the emotional stress and the mental stress and the physical stress that an athlete goes through because I've witnessed it firsthand. So it's something I would like to help athletes get through and get back to their sport. I'm very passionate about that. So I've always loved sports. I love to train, and I want to help those athletes prevent injuries that can be prevented. And something I didn't mention, something that you can set yourself apart from other candidates in your field is something that I learned throughout this course also, is maybe give a background story. So I would definitely mention to the employer that I've had injuries. I can definitely relate to the athlete. I witnessed it firsthand. I've gone through it. I'm a hard worker. And for example, if there's an organization that you've looked up to as a child, mention that I've always wanted to work for them. So this would be a dream goal, something like that. Kind of making a backstory is something I was advised on for being having an interview with an employer to set yourself apart. So that's something I just wanted to mention. But yeah, and very passionate about this field. I love strength and conditioning for myself and to help other athletes. So this is something that I look forward to, and I hope in the future I can achieve that goal. And the next slide here is just my references. Here's my references, and I hope you enjoyed my video. And I've learned a great deal throughout this semester on the position I would like to have as a strength coach. And yeah, it's been great.